Writing Quest!
Welcome to Writing Quest. My name is Brenden.
My name is Ayden.
And we are two brothers writing a book together.
Step by step.
Idea by idea. And on this show today, I've been doing some writing. Ayden's been in a funk.
I've been doing some motivational support.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about chapters 5 and 6. Writing Quest!
Huzzah!
Huzzah!
So today on Writing Quest,
we finished chapters 5 and 6, and we are going to talk about that. So, what do you have to say for yourself, Ayden? Oh, wait. I wrote it.
my wife is pregnant.
No excuses. There are no excuses on Writing
I work
Quest.
a full-time job.
No excuses on Writing Quest.
I commute.
No excuses on Writing Quest. Alright, so I'm going to do a little recap of Chapter 5. Basically, all that happened, for you, Ayden, to know, is... So, the whole thing with Ro disappears, all that kind of stuff.
We're past that.
Yep.
Whatever.
Basically, Chapter 5 is Guinan and Agorath having a conversation. Agorath is brooding away on his throne in the town hall.
I think I've read this.
Find him. Yeah, you might have read some of it. They kind of have a conversation, grief moment, fight, kind of like
brotherly.
They're being as brotherly as they are, but they still have their like butting heads kind of thing.
Yeah,
so that kind of expands and then ends in a fight. Agorath storms out. He goes and finds Lorien, Ro's mother, who is sitting at their home.
I did
read some of this.
Lorien? Really?
Sure.
Not Loriana?
Why Loriana? That's
because
stupid.
Lorien is a forest.
Okay.
It's a forest in Lord of the Rings.
Agreed. We'll change the name. That's not the point. She goes to find Ro's mother. She finds her at the house with the rest of her kids, and they're all just there mourning, whatever. So he goes to apologize, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, emotions, all
that stuff. Right at the end of chapter 5, the Wraithwalkers come back.
Dun, dun, dun.
So,
is that what the Dark Beasts are officially called now?
We're officially calling them Wraithwalkers for now.
So they kind of look like bears.
But they also kind of look like the Balrog. But they also are like undead creatures.
So not alive, never were alive, not like they're like bones or anything. Like
they're like rotted. They're like sort of zombie-ish, but not, they're like just a...
I was seeing more of a, a shadowy...
I'm going to break down the Wraithwalkers for you. Take a bear. Got a bear in your head.
Yes.
Okay, shave it. Now, decay its flesh. Okay, you see some rib bones, its cheeks are sunken, it's kind of a mess. Add some flies, all right? And then you're going to wrap it in dark, misty stuff.
Okay.
And then you're going to have some jolty electricity shooting through it.
Okay.
And then it screeches like a ring wraith. That's it. That's what it looks like.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah.
Hey, good luck with all those PNGs, by the way.
Yeah. So right here at the end, so I'll just read the last little bit. He gave Loriana, whatever we call her, another look as he hoped to convey his own sadness and apology, then looked around at the other children briefly before making his way over to the door. He grabbed his staff from its place against the wall and pulled the latch to the door, swinging it open. He turned to look at Ro's mother once more. "I am truly sorry," he said, then turned to walk out the door. A high-pitched, electrified screech exploded through the silence. Then two more, all from different directions. Agorath ran outside, not even bothering to pull the door closed. More screeches began, and he could see dark clouds of shadow and energy pulsing at the edges of his sight. Lorien appeared beside him, her children trailing behind her. "What is it?" Her voice was shaking. Without looking at her, Agorath spoke the dreadful answer. "Wraithwalkers."
Brenden! They don't have an import to escape anymore! They're screwed!
I know! Chapter 6.
Do you address that in Chapter 6?
Chapter 6. "Take your kids and run, Lorien! Run!" Agorath took off toward the closest calamity toward the north side of the village. That's not a bad sentence.
That is, dang.
I like calamity, though. "Where should we go?" Lorien yelled after him. Agorath kept running, but yelled back, "To the east! To the edge of the forest!"
Huzzah.
And then all of this is just a ginormous battle scene.
So not important.
So they fight. Agorath uses some sweet, sweet magic. And then, the ending here. Where should I start?
The beginning is a good place to start.
Well, that's true. Passing through the middle of town, he turned east toward the sound of more fighting. He would need to clear a path. A heavy trunk and clanking of armor bolstered his spirits. Gaian was already here. Moments later, he came upon a raging battle. Gaian had his hammer and was swinging it wildly, but with incredible skill and precision, striking blows one after the other on the Wraithwalker just as big as the one he'd just finished off. Artemis and Morthil were nowhere to be found, nowhere around. Hopefully, still alive and fighting the other battles he could still hear around the village. A flash of light and a deafening explosion made him jump and cover his head. He looked at the sound of the town, to the south of town, where a huge plume of smoke, fire, and debris filled his view, flying into the air.
Huzzah.
The village erupted in screams, and it wasn't long before the villagers were heading toward him. He would clear the way. Gaian, move! His brother's hammer landed hard across the Wraithwalker's face, but he took the order without question and jumped to the side. Agorath brought up his staff and drew upon its power. He felt it cracking and splintering in his grip, but he pulled on it, drawing out every drop of power he could. Finally, the energy pulsed through it. He aimed for the Wraithwalker's chest and released. The pulse exploded from the tip of his staff, which exploded in his hand, shattering into hundreds of splinters. Agorath's aim was true, and the magical bolt landed in perfectly centers on the Wraithwalker's chest, the sheer power disintegrating the creature upon impact. Run! Agorath waved the villagers onward, and they poured through the exit of the village. To the exit of the village. Women and children, and the few men remaining, ran for their lives with nothing but the others around them. A screech sounded, then choked, followed shortly by Morthil and Artemis running toward him. Gaian stood and came up to him as they passed. Agorath, your staff! There is no time! Agorath grabbed his brother's arm and pushed him to follow the villagers. Run! Gaian didn't question and ran. Agorath looked one last time at the village on fire. Another terrifying screech rent apart the momentary silence. Agorath tore his eyes from the torrent of fire and ran into the forest after Gaian and the rest, into the wild.
I have 2 things. I have 3 things.
Yes, 3 things. There's no more things, though.
First thing, it's good. Pretty cool. Decent. Second thing, why did his staff shatter?
Okay, so going back to our explanation.
Wait. Before I guess that's going to launch a whole thing.
That's going to launch a thing.
Okay.
What's the third thing?
My third thing is, why is running into the wild any better? Aren't they just going to chase them? What's keeping the Wraithwalkers?
Okay, let's talk about the staff first. So the staff, we discussed with Magic that the staff is from the previous Evertree.
Indeed.
And he burns it up as he uses it, correct?
Yeah.
So
the idea is like if he has a long staff, eventually it'll be a short staff.
Yeah,
It burns
so
it
you're
down.
using it up. So my thing is we need to sew this into more. We have already a little bit, but we need to sew it in earlier that his staff is withering. Like he's used it. It's been years and years and years.
Okay.
So his staff has just been slowly. So by this point, like he's kind of holding on to the last remnants of what he can. But then they just had one battle with a Wraithwalker. Now they're having more battles. So basically this was like, I've got to get these people out of here. This is the last ditch effort, but that was like the last of the power. But he didn't have time to like fight the beast. He just needs to get the beast out of the way. So he kind of just,
I like that. What if, since like...
And I have a reason for why I did this, so...
Oh, I think I know. Maybe, I don't know. But what if also, since this freaking Mistborn,
Wraithwalkers.
Since the Wraithwalkers are like the opposite of the Evertree, or against it, whatever, the antithesis of, then what if when he touches his staff to one of them, it shatters?
Okay.
What if that? So like, and maybe they don't know that, maybe they do know that, but like if he touches it, or if it grabs it, it shatters.
Well, but then what's the point of the magic thing? Like, my thought was so this gets to my reason. This is why.
Okay.
So I think this kind of goes to what we're trying to do with the Agorath is like, we're setting him up as the hero in the beginning, but he slowly becomes the bad guy.
Right.
So for him, his magic is very important to him, and his staff is very important.
Yes.
But this does 2 things. It shows he's willing to sacrifice it for his people.
Okay.
So he's like, it doesn't matter. I need to clear the path for my people to be able to leave.
Right.
So he's sacrificing it.
Which we can later mirror with him like sacrificing his people for the magic?
Right. So then it sets him up, though, now for his descent. Because now you have Artemis and Morthil still have magic. We start going down the path of there might be a possibility he could get his magic back. So now he gets jealous. He starts making poor decisions based upon getting his power back.
So we need to make him feel useless.
Yeah. So like this is a big moment for him where he sacrificed it because he cares. But now it's like that power starts slowly consuming him as he attempts to regain it.
If we have him fail saving his people after this,
then he kind of gets the...
He'll be like, I need to make sure I save the magic to save the people. So if I have to sacrifice people to save the magic to save the people...
Yeah, he starts it just starts all twisting his logic. Which is where then Gaian and him are already kind of always at odds. And this is where that really starts to splinter. Because to me, Gaian needs to be the one who doesn't actually have a lot of character change. Of all of them, he's the one that doesn't have it. He's like the righteous one.
Right.
Like he's like the Rock of like, I will not change. He's like the Captain America kind of.
Right.
In that like...
His change is him... giving up on Agorath.
Yeah.
That's his change.
Yeah, but like his morals don't change.
Right.
His morals are like, we do the right thing and I'm an upstanding person.
Maybe his morals also include like you don't betray family. Family is thicker than whatever.
Yeah. It's
and
basically Dom Toretto.
Yeah. And then that changes.
Yeah. So that was my motivation
Okay.
for like this. So Ro now has her inciting incident and now they have their inciting incident.
Gotcha.
As far as being chased from the village, I understand your question. However, we have to give them a story. So in my head, the wild is less dangerous than staying where like they're continuing to get overrun. Like they can't fight them off forever. So
Right. So clearly they would run. My question isn't why would they go into the wild necessarily. Like I get that they would run, but how do we as authors plot armor them from just getting massacred? Because I'm assuming these Wraithwalkers can just slaughter endlessly, being undead through the night and be tireless and all that.
So there needs to be so we got to figure out a limit for them. So like something that the village can do that actually protects them.
I got it. You ready?
Wait. Yeah, I'm ready.
An avalanche.
Is that two ring wraiths in the river thing?
This is snow.
Still the same thing.
Snow. I don't know what you mean. It's not water horses.
I do a lot of this. I point a lot. Anyways, I have an idea. So Morthil and Artemis still have magic.
Indeed.
So they this really. Oh yeah, okay. So
you're like in the zone,
whoa,
and I'm like,
okay, no, for real. So I'm so excited about this. Okay, this is where this descent really starts.
Okay.
Morthil and Artemis start stepping up to protect the village because they are now the senior magic people.
Why doesn't Agorath just request one of their stabs?
Doesn't work that way.
Go on.
It's gifted from the Evertree to the individual.
I don't know.
Stop putting a hole in it just for a second.
I am their advocate, Brenden. The readers and the viewers need to know these things.
We'll solve that in a moment. Okay, no. So they start stepping up, so they find a solution magically to protect them for a while, which then that starts with Agorath starts feeling useless then, because now they're the ones that are able to protect, and now he's like...
He has to lead. They have to use the magic.
Right.
Because he can't be using the magic to create the shield or whatever that they do.
Which then helps us now set up Artemis and Morthil, which will work for down the line.
Indeed. How are they immortal? We haven't addressed that. For those of you that don't know...
Evertree. For those of you that don't know, which nobody does because no one's read it except for me and Ayden.
We've mentioned it.
My original book, Artemis, is the old wizard character. So in this, he's young, except that the problem is that this prequel book and my original novel, they're like 2,000 years apart.
I was thinking 20, but...
20,000?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I know. Brenden, there's literally the Magi have to evolve into the elves, humans, orcs, dwarves, all of the things. This doesn't happen over time.
Yes, okay. Yep. We'll get there, I think. I don't know if it's 20,000. That's a lot.
I don't know, man. That's a lot of story to do. I think you got this big You got this big world for a short time, man.
Okay. We'll talk about the timeline, but essentially, so Artemis is a very important character, along with Morthil, because in the original story, Morthil's the bad guy, and Artemis is the Gandalf of the tribe, the Brahm.
Who likes Gaian? No, Artemis is bad too.
No, Artemis was bad, defects. I'm not sure about all that yet.
But for now,
Gaian becomes a Knights of Whiteforge.
But for now, Morthil and Artemis essentially just follow the descent.
Well, or maybe not. Who knows? Because the magic could still end up being good at the end of this. True. I mean, Agorath doesn't have to, like...
Be evil at the end.
Be evil at the end.
He
just needs to be headed that direction.
We have a lot we want to do.
This is at least 9-book series.
It just keeps growing. Like, we can't... we need to figure out...
Okay. So that's some great motivations, I think.
Throw it all out!
No. So,
start over!
Let's talk. Ayden came up with a really good magic solution earlier, which leads off of this. I think we should talk about that.
And I also have another magic system I just came up with 5 minutes ago. That we are going to introduce, and it's going to be awesome. Okay. You're going to love it.
I need a shirt that just says magic systems. I hate them.
I love it.
I love them. I hate them. All right, go.
Okay, so, and I think we've talked about this on an episode before.
It's my thinking face.
But I'm pulling it back and I'm being like, Brenden, this has to happen. Which you've taken to, which I love it. So, magic exists in fabric of the world reality. Mm-hmm. Right, whatever.
Which used to be, I kind of had like, it's in the ground. It's like in the roots of the tree.
Yeah. And then magic is so important to the plot that it can't not have rules. It can't just be this wishy-washy thing. So what I think is that in order to do magic, you have to have the Evertree. The Evertree is like the connection between magic and sentient, sapient beings, right? You can edit that out, please and thank you. So you need the Evertree, and in order for people to use magic, you need
a piece of
the Evertree.
Something that the Evertree gives to you, or you get from, or however it works.
I'm thinking you get from. Like, if you're just around it and you pick up a stick, you could technically use that for magic. You think it's very sentient. I think it more or less doesn't care, up to the point where it actually matters.
I see it as like a benevolent god creating everything.
I see it as a big-ass mother bleeping tree.
Okay.
And you know what trees do?
They grow.
They don't care.
Or die. That's true. We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Honestly,
I'm not saying it doesn't.
We'll probably decide that as we're writing it.
Yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't have a will, because it's like the source of magic and stuff, but like you have Deku tree vibes, from Zelda. Okay. I have like swamp tree vibes from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Okay. So the magic then, so what you were saying before, the Evertree is what keeps away the Wraithwalkers, what traps them. But because there isn't an Evertree anymore.
Or when the Evertree rots, it creates them? It creates them, like they are a byproduct of. So maybe they are just dead things that were around a rotting piece of the Evertree.
So they're literally like a yin and yang. Like they are, like, as the Evertree dies, the Wraithwalkers come until the Evertree is planted again.
But you don't have the Wraithwalkers without the Evertree. So if you don't have an Evertree, then you don't have Wraithwalkers. And so another idea that I had was,
at some point, someone just burns it to ash. Everything.
At all the roots, everything, everywhere.
Yeah.
Because like we talk about how they spring up from the ground, right? The awakening.
So, okay, back up. So when Gaian and Agorath's parents were running things back at the Awakening, they killed their Evertree, but the Evertree's still there.
It's the roots.
So the dead Evertree, it's become like tainted magic that is spawning. So they abuse their power. They accidentally kill their Evertree because they were just harvesting too much from it. Mm-hmm. It dies, and the Wraithwalkers awaken. The Awakening. And they just like popped out of the ground everywhere and destroyed, just laid waste, and just like this many people got away.
Boom. Okay.
So then, yeah.
And so you know what I mean? When
So
we're
it
talking
is.
about...
So it is a circle, and then eventually we could do something, whether it's in this story or later, where someone figures out that they are one and the same. If you get rid of the Evertree and everything about it.
Right. So you know what I was talking about in chapter 3 when you just kind of wrote that Guyan just killed the Wraithwalker beast, dark beast.
Wraithwalker,
Wraithwalker, whatever thing. Thanks for making a really hard word to say that we're going to say 1 billion times per episode now and forever. So you know when I was talking about that and how you just had a guy and just push it over dead like it was nothing. And it was like, if these are actually the formidable things that they're all afraid of, shouldn't he be like actually afraid of it? And it should be hard to beat.
I just meant for the fight scene to be off camera. That's all. Still an epic fight scene. I just meant for it to be off camera.
So, and then here's my next idea, which is going to change the entire story that we've written so
for like the 20th time.
Like that always happens. What if there is no Evertree in this world?
Yes.
And what if Agorath has the seed? Has the seed of the Evertree.
There it is.
And then he has to plant it to get his magic back. But if he does, effectively, someday, inevitably, that Evertree will die, whether it's like 40,000 years in the future or whatnot. But it's going to die, and the world will end.
So that is the quest that his parents gave him. As his dad is dying, he reaches into his pouch, and he gives him the seed and says, "They will never stop chasing you until you plant the tree of life."
Boom.
And then bam.
At least they hope, because maybe they plant it and the Wraithwalkers,
Could be really good.
Wraithwalkers are still there.
But what this does, though, is it gives a common thread for the rest of all of the other stories we may tell. Everything could revolve around the Evertree Wraithwalker
thing.
Cycle. Could really be crazy. So anyways.
Wait, okay, sorry, no. So, in order, okay. So, here's my thoughts. So, if you have a stick, like a staff,
got it,
from like a Gorath, that can be like the magic wand or whatever. If you have like a leaf, it can have different properties. Like, what does a leaf do? It breathes, it cools, it heals, it has medicinal properties. It can be like Lothlorien and have like invisibility stuff.
So then what you could do is like Morthil, Artemis, and Agorath are all incredibly powerful. Yeah. I did fix magic, by the way. I didn't. We got a whole other thing to talk about. We'll get there.
Oh yes, you did it. Indeed,
no.
You did.
You
it's
did
fine.
it.
I'll
you
be
did
over
it.
here.
I have a scientific explanation. Okay. But so they have like staves, like a big piece. So that's why they're so powerful.
Right.
But then there could be like healers that just use the leaves to...
Or the bark.
Yeah. Bark could be armor. No, that's too far.
Yes. What about moss that grows on the tree? It's not the tree,
gosh.
but like it would have properties. Again, there's a world of opportunity.
Let's wrap this up with the scientific thing. All I was saying. So,
two more ideas.
Okay, so
I'm in the zone.
Oh no. This is devolving really quickly. Okay, so the magic. So there's the hunters and there's the magi.
Yes.
The hunters are weaker, but have unlimited elemental magic.
Yes.
So, like, if you can bend fire, you're weaker than a magi, but you can use it indefinitely.
Right. But you'll be, like, exhausted from,
physically just be tired because you're fighting, but, like, it's not drawing on you. You can just bend it and use it. The magi, it's matter manipulation. So they can do anything. Like, they can make a shield, or they can,
make a vacuum.
Yeah, no, not like,
We'll suck the air out of
They
the
can,
space.
like, use energy. They can create energy bolts. They can create a shield out of nothing. Like,
Pause time, change your face.
Yeah, like, they can do anything, because it's all it is just matter manipulation.
Right.
That's their magic. But theirs is tied to so like, you can use and do anything crazy you want, but you only have this staff. So when it's gone...
What if you had a branch? What if they have cannons?
What if they could figure out a way to compress a whole branch into a, like, pike? So it's a whole branch, but it's still, like, a normal-sized staff.
What if, like, a bunch of them, like, grabbed onto a tree branch and, like, were shooting bolts out of the Evertree? Because there's a big war.
It has to be detached from the Evertree.
Has to be detached.
I think so.
Rules? Okay.
Yeah. Because he couldn't, like, I'm just going to touch the Evertree.
And use the entire Evertree.
The entire tree to, like, that's ridiculous.
Unless someone can. But not use up the tree, but, like, tap into the tree. Like
What's your two other ideas? Then we gotta wrap
So my
this
two
up.
other ideas.
The people are getting none of us.
I don't think so. Are you done of us?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. They are not done of us, Brendan.
All right.
Probably.
Let's go.
I hope so. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I forgot one of them. The other one.
One idea.
Okay. So I just had it. So we're talking about being in the zone. Some people have the zone, some people don't have the zone. And some people have a little bit of zone, some people have a lot of zone. But when they use it, it's like everything is just slightly heightened.
I'm gonna shut off this zone.
It's like a knack. It's like a little trick. Like a lesser magic. And some people can be in the zone.
This has been Writing Quest. Thank you so much for sticking with us through that whole mess of things. And we hope you enjoy the story. I certainly think it's going in a fun direction.
I need to get writing.
You need to get writing because I do feel though like it's really coming together. So I know like when I'm writing, I know where to take it. I know where I'm going. I do feel like we're gonna hit a point though. So like we're launching them into their journey. Mm-hmm. We're gonna hit a point somewhere in the middle of like, okay, what are we doing? We're in the middle of the forest. Everyone's running around. We're all trying to survive. Like, we can't just have camp again, you know? So we're going to have that. Well, anyways, thank you for joining us. Please like, comment, subscribe, share. Check it out on Wattpad, and keep questing. Is that our line? Can we say that?
You can say that, Brendan.
Keep questing! Huzzah!
Huzzah!